Hello there. Welcome to B1NN, the B1 News Network on Hotlvamusictv. I'm Cedric Blackman with breaking news. But before I start, please go subscribe to my YouTube channel, Cedric Blackman, and Von Savage Media. Then make sure you visit jlava.com. Now let's join the live stream already in progress.
Okay, good afternoon. My name's Jamie Smith. I'm the police chief here with the Albertville Police Department. Come to you with a heavy heart this afternoon. Tragedy has struck in our community. Terrible incident. Something small town Albertville we hear about in other places, but this morning early it struck home. I have a prepared statement. I'll be reading that, and then I'll offer Agent Will Strunk with FBI an opportunity if he'd like to say anything. This morning about 2:30, a call was received to the Albertville Police Department of a shooting that had occurred at the Mueller Company. Officers from the Albertville Police Department, also officers from the Boaz Police Department, responded to the scene. Upon the officers' arrival, 4 victims were located. The apparent shooter had fled the scene in a maroon Jeep Cherokee. Information was broadcast to the surrounding agencies concerning the incident. As the investigation unfolded, it was determined that the shooter, Andreas Dion Horton, 34 years old, of County Road 25 in DeKalb County, who is also an employee of the Mueller Company, presented a handgun and began to fire an unknown amount of rounds at fellow employees. During the gunfire, Michael Lee Dobbins of Gaither Road in Boaz and also David Lee Horton of William Street in Boaz were fatally wounded during the incident. Injured during the gunfire was Casey Sampson of Irvin Lane in Albertville and also Isaac Bird of Columbus Street in Albertville. Both Sampson and Bird were transported to Marshall Medical Center South for their injuries and later, as my understanding, transferred to Erlanger Hospital in Chattanooga. Officers immediately began a search for Horton, and through the investigation discovered that Horton was still traveling in a maroon Jeep Grand Cherokee and was possibly in the downtown area of Gunnersville. Shortly before 6 a.m., a Gunnersville police officer spotted a vehicle matching that description and immediately called for other officers to assist. Officers got there. They discovered Horton was dead with an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head, and also multiple weapons were recovered from inside the vehicle. At this time, officers are still at the shooting scene at the Mueller Company processing for any additional evidence. Currently, officers are also still working toward any motive as to what may have sparked or caused the shooting. Hopefully, we'll learn something more about that in the coming days as the investigation unfolds and the detectives get to talk to, possible witnesses and the initial responding officers to the scene. Again, it's a sad day. It's something we only read about here, but it's here. At this time, if anybody has any questions, I'll try to clarify what I've got on my prepared statement. Yes, ma'am.
Can you say where in the plant? Did it happen in the plant, in the parking lot?
Part of, pretty much every bit of it was inside the plant, confined inside the walls. Does expand over a little bit of an area, which has presented some of the problem for us this morning, but it's all inside the plant.
What kind of problem did that present this morning?
I'm sorry?
What kind of problem?
Just the vastness of the scene. We had victims in 2 or 3 different locations, just a large area.
I understand the call came in at 2:30. What time did you show up?
I don't have that, but I'm sure it was just minutes later.
Can you say anything about the relationship between the shooter and other victims?
They do both have the Horton last name, but right now, to my knowledge, there's no relation. He's in the middle of a shift, my understanding.
Was the suspect working on shift at the time?
Yes, he was.
Are guns allowed at this facility for the night?
I do not have firsthand knowledge, but to my best guess, I would say probably not.
Can you say anything about the nature of the multiple weapons recovered from the vehicle?
I don't have any firsthand knowledge.
Where in the plant? Did it happen in the plant, in the parking lot?
Pretty much every bit of it was inside the plant, confined inside the walls. Does expand over a little bit of an area, which has presented some of the problem for us this morning, but it's all inside the plant.
What kind of problem did that present this morning?
I'm sorry?
What kind of problem?
Just the vastness of the scene. We had victims in 2 or 3 different locations, just a large area.
I understand the call came in at 2:30. What time did police show up?
I don't have that, but I'm sure it was just minutes later.
Can you say anything about the relationship between the shooter and other victims?
They do both have the Horton last name, but right now, to my knowledge, there's no relation, no ties other than coworkers.
Was this in the middle of a shift, or was this during a shift change?
I think it's in the middle of a shift, my understanding.
Was the suspect working on shift at the time?
Yes, he was.
Are guns allowed in this facility for the night?
I do not have firsthand knowledge, but to my best guess, I would say probably not. I don't have a recent update. Last contact I had was airlifted to Erlanger.
Do you have any idea how long he worked at the facility?
I heard around 10 years. I don't know that to be true.
What is the security situation at Miller around 2:30 in the morning?
The entire facility is fenced and gated. They do have a guard shack, the entry-exit way, and it was manned by a private security company. But you have to keep in mind this guy was an employee. He's supposed to be there.
How many people were in the building at the time, and what was the process of evacuating them?
I didn't have an exact head count. The number of folks I saw when I got there, I'm going to say probably in excess of 100. Actually, when I got there, they were already evacuated the building and had them, pretty well isolated in a separate area. So Mueller, I think, done what they needed to do. The supervising staff there took care of what they had to take care of.
So what about 5 o'clock at a newsroom got a call from the Mueller facility, and it was the worker inside saying that there's certain parts that have to be manned at all times, and he said he was still in there.
That's correct. And that's something you probably need to take up with Mueller. There took care of what they had to take care of.
So what about 5 o'clock at a newsroom got a call from the Mueller facility, and it was the worker inside saying that there's certain parts that have to be manned at all times, and he said he was still in there.
That's correct. And that's something you probably need to take up with Mueller. But I do know the furnace where they actually melt the stuff to cast the fire hydrants, that could be pretty volatile. So he was taken out, and then we escorted him back in to take care of all that.
Any idea how long the plant will be closed for an investigation?
I was told this morning probably a couple of days. But beyond that, I don't. At this time, I'd offer Will. You want a chance to say anything?
I don't have anything to say. We're just here in an assistant role only. Anything the chief needs, we're going to make sure that it gets took care of. So that's it.
Sorry, I have a couple more questions. What do you know about the shooter right now?
Very little. We had some dealings with him in the past, but nothing recent. It's been several years ago, and it was nothing of a malicious or traffic tickets and such.
This may not be a question that you necessarily can ask, but he got in with a gun. Is there no type of, do the employees go through a metal detector? I mean, it seems pretty easy that he got on the property with a weapon. Is there any kind of check there at the company for weapons? Is there a weapon policy that you know of there?
To my knowledge, no. I don't know. I'm not familiar with Mueller's policies and protocols. Most employers, some will let you have firearms, some won't. I'm not familiar with their policy protocol, so I can't speak to that.
Can you talk about, this has been happening across the country almost daily, talk about, something like this happening here in Albertville and how you and your deputies are feeling right now?
It's tough. No bones about it. Loss of life anytime is terrible. whether it's at the hands of a gunman, natural causes, car accident, name it. Anytime anything like this happens, that's kind of our deal. We put the bad guy in jail. It's just tough times.
Music TV.
Church, preach, tabernacle. It's the only way we're going to get any action. Man, I want to give a shout out to 2 BBFs. Friends, you dig? Hey, they had a special shout out, you know what I mean? Somebody care about y'all, man. Want to give y'all congratulations to Jay Lever and T. Von Savage on their success on Keeping It P on their podcast, where they take news situations and everyday occurrence and tell how it is and not like it was. You did? They be keeping it on the P for real. Y'all tune in to their podcast here. I'm telling T. Von Savage and Jay Lever, hey man, Vicky think a lot about y'all, man. Y'all just keep doing your thing, man. Keep making it happen, man. Y'all super live, man. Y'all keep it on the P, man. I just want to send out a family congratulations from all the famous players around the world to Jay Lever and T. Von Savage on y'all success, man. Keep it P, man. From the P Master itself, the Bishop Don Matthew Juan, chairman of the board of famous players everywhere. You dig?
Music TV.
Many ways for you to run my pad. Cut the check, reparation. 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 Cut the check. Talking compensation, it's about that time.
She's a bad bitch, blood on her hair, she's so tragic. Be careful for her love, she love.
Hey Riri. Hey Rihanna, hey girl, how you doing? I'm into you like Trump's in the Putin. I know that might sound a little confusing. I had to say it for my own amusement. You
count lava down, but you can't count them out, baby. Life give me lemons, I make lemon rain. Working around shit. All of your misconceptions, you thought I would miss my blessings.
You get down. All I wanna do is see you move it. All I wanna do is see you get down. All I wanna do is see you move it. All I wanna do is see you get down. All I wanna do is see you play this shit.
You don't even know what I gave to this shit. Self-made with this shit. I slay with this shit. Been a lot of roads I done paved with this shit. Look. See, I don't play with this shit. You don't even know what I gave to this shit.
I'm a big dog tryna bring it back. I'ma slide in the way, bring it back. Let a nigga tap, tryna bring it back. Tryna bring it back. Tryna bring it
Music TV.